Hi guys, let's go and check out 10 WWE wrestlers who had better careers in TNA.
WWE wrestlers who actually had better careers in TNA. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Number 1. Christian Cage, aka Christian. Christian has had a remarkable career. Edge and Christian were a highly entertaining duo that helped revitalize the tag team division, and both wrestlers had the it factor.
So
when the two separated, there was hope that the former world tag team champion would reach the main event. Edge certainly did, and it was clear that Vince saw him as a main event star. However, Christian was simply tossed into the mid-card. The former WWE star made good use of his time, and he had a memorable run. In fact, his run was so good that it felt like he was on the cusp of entertaining the main event scene. Christian got a taste of the top spot, but once he got labeled as a wrestler who just threw temper tantrums in the ring, it was going to be hard for him to escape the mid-card. Leaving WWE did wonders for his career. He was allowed to grow as a performer and showcase why he deserved to be in the main event. The former NWA World Heavyweight Champion had a strong run as a top champion thanks to his great matches against the likes of Samoa Joe, Abyss, and Jeff Jarrett. When he left TNA in 2008, he successfully elevated himself as a performer. Sadly, his second WWE stint still saw him linger in the mid-card. Though he did win the World Heavyweight title on 2 separate occasions, those runs were incredibly short. It's a shame that Vince didn't see him in the same light as Edge.
This literally shows you that sometimes it's not about the wrestler, it's about the company and the people who hire you. If they cannot see it, and if they don't give you a good story and stuff, and if they don't believe in you, you will not top anything. Like, you will not succeed. And it's not about the wrestler. Like, he can be or she can be very talented, but if they don't see it, then it's a waste.
Number 2. Angelina Love, Angel Williams in WWE. Now, before Angelina Love got her fame through The Beautiful People, the former TNA Knockouts champion was actually in WWE's Deep South Wrestling for 3 whole years. And when you look back at Love's career in TNA, it's a head-scratcher on why the company released her in the first place. She's attractive, a really good promo, and one that can go once the bell rings. The Beautiful People was another reason why the Knockouts division was such a success in 2007. Love played the self-centered and egotistical leader of the faction pretty well, and she had several great matches against a variety of names such as Awesome Kong, Gail Kim, and Tara. In fact, the main reason LA Cool existed was due to the success of the Beautiful People. It's a shame that Love never got a real run in WWE. It's also shocking that the company never attempted to bring her in following her notable TNA stint. Maybe Vince only wanted one Canadian blonde in WWE. Either way, Angelina Love helped make the women's division in North America very credible. Number 3. Mickie James. It's hard to deny the success of Mickie's first WWE run. Her feud with Trish Stratus remains a classic, but Mickie has gone on to have several great matches against names like Beth Phoenix, Victoria, Melina, and Lita. However, before her release in 2010, it was clear that Vince McMahon was tired of the former WWE Women's Champion. Despite her popularity,
what did it actually say? Regarding Mickie James' shocking release today from WWE, she was fired because she more than once on the European tour arrived late for the it's unprofessional thing. Okay, holding up travel, that was considered the straw that broke the camel's back, dating back to her being disciplined by being sent to SmackDown due to substandard performances and issues with her weight. Excuse me?
That Vince McMahon was tired of the former WWE Women's Champion. Despite her popularity, creative tried to embarrass her on multiple occasions. When Mickie James went back to TNA, she fit in like a glove. The promotion treated Mickie with respect and gave her the spotlight she deserved, and Mickie took full advantage of that greatly. Mickie was able to develop a persona that helped her grow as a performer, and she had plenty of bangers left and right before her exit in 2013. And Mickie's second stint in WWE was largely forgettable. She came in with a great match against Asuka at NXT TakeOver Toronto, and her reintroduction as Alexa Bliss's lackey was solid, but WWE didn't do much with her beyond being Alexa Bliss's sidekick. Not surprisingly, she had a couple of strong matches, but it was clear that Vince had no interest in making her the face of the division again. Or when she came back to TNA, she resumed her spot at the top, and the last rodeo storyline was well done. While plenty of fans will first point to Mickie's first stint with WWE as her career best, TNA did a wonderful job of showcasing her strengths throughout both runs. Her TNA run is quite underrated, which is a shame since her best work hasn't been seen by a good portion of the WWE audience. Number 4. Jeff Jarrett. You can't have this list without the Southern God himself, Jeff Jarrett. Now, Jeff Jarrett didn't necessarily have a bad WWE career, but his fallout with Vince McMahon kept him from WWE. In 1999, the former Intercontinental Champion planned on jumping ship to WCW, but the problem was that he was still champion when his contract expired. The plan was for Chyna to beat Jarrett for the Intercontinental title at No Mercy, but the WWE Hall of Famer forced Vince McMahon to give him $200,000 to drop the belt. He got the money, but Jarrett was blacklisted for nearly 2 decades. Jarrett got a nice push in WCW, but guess what? The company shut down in 2001. With WWE not being an option, Jarrett founded TNA in 2002. It was only natural that he pushed himself as a face of the new promotion, as Jeff Jarrett was the World Heavyweight Champion 6 times. Yeah, 6 freaking times. Jeff Jarrett had his moments in TNA, but was he overpushed? Yeah, but there are certainly worse names out there that come close to being the face of TNA. Jeff Jarrett's stint in the promotion was entertaining overall, even though dominating the main event scene got tiring in the mid-2000s. Number 5, Scott Steiner. Scott Steiner's WWE career was a complete bust. It was all downhill for the WWE Hall of Famer after his disastrous feud with Triple H. He was essentially a lower card act by the time he received his pink slip in August of 2004. Steiner just wasn't the same man who took WCW by storm. But still, Scott Steiner is a popular name, so naturally TNA opted to pick up the former WCW World Heavyweight Champion.
Yep.
Admittedly, there isn't a particular classic match that Steiner had in TNA, but Big Papa Pump had plenty of memorable moments during his lengthy stint with the company. Of course, everyone knows about the unforgettable Steiner Math promo, but that overshadowed moments like Steiner trying to be an announcer for the night or his conquest of 20,000 women promo on Bobby Lashley. Steiner was treated like a star in TNA, and although he didn't have a stellar track record inside the ring, he was one of the best parts of the promotion thanks to his personality and charisma. Number 6, EC3. What happened to EC3 in WWE? He started as Derek Bateman first in FCW, with the most notable thing Bateman did was in Vince's terrible version of NXT. It wasn't a surprise that WWE released him in 2013 because he was a jobber at that point. TNA took a huge risk by bringing in Bateman, and it paid off big time. Repackaged as Ethan Carter III, the former WWE star excelled as the entitled nephew of Dixie Carter. It wasn't that TNA booked him like a star, but EC3 carried himself as one. His weekly segments were great, and his partnership with Rockstar Spud was highly entertaining. TNA transformed an NXT jobber into a top talent worthy of a second chance in WWE, and he got one. But somehow EC3's second stint was worse than his first. In a rare miss, WWE didn't seem to understand how to book EC3. He came in on the first match to determine the North American champion and had a forgettable feud with Velveteen Dream, but that's nothing compared to his main roster run. For some odd reason, Vince McMahon decided to give him a mute gimmick. EC3's promo skills are how he got over in TNA, but the only memorable thing that he did in WWE's main roster was Dean Ambrose's EC1 and EC2 promo. The former TNA World Heavyweight Champion was reduced to the 24/7 title jobber status, so him being released again was a blessing in disguise. Sadly, EC3's career hasn't reached the heights that it did in 2015. His second stint in TNA was brief but unremarkable. The whole Control Your Narrative promotion was dead on arrival. He's currently the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, but unfortunately, that promotion has lost all of its hype in recent years. But still, what he's doing now in NWA is 100 times better than anything he did in WWE's main roster. Number 7, Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy will always go down as one of the best tag team wrestlers in WWE, but that was the issue with Matt Hardy. Vince McMahon only saw him as a tag team wrestler. Though Matt Hardy had a good run as the Cruiserweight and United States Champion, the company never pushed him beyond mid-card. TNA actually took a risk with Matt Hardy, and he proved why he's a better performer than his brother Jeff. Even before the Broken Hardy stuff, his Big Matt Money gimmick was awesome. Him, Rebby, Tyrus, and Rockstar Spud gelled together nicely, and Matt never felt out of place in the main event scene. He played the egotistical douchebag to perfection, and his wife Rebby helped him elevate him through his performances as well. But of course, Broken Matt Hardy is what he's mainly known for these days. The former WWE star took a major risk by doing a gimmick that's never been seen before. Broken Hardy got a mixed reception when it first started, but fans then warmed up to the character as it continued.
Wait, let me see. One thing made clear by the final deletion and the other Broken Matt Hardy segment is that the character doesn't play as well in front of a live crowd as he does in avant-garde pre-tapes. In promos and angles at the Impact Zone, he comes off as someone trying way too hard with his wacky new accent and hairdo that may or may not be inspired by short-lived Memphis manager Mark Allen. In the pre-tapes on the Hardy compounds, you can take the new persona on its own merits instead of reflexively turning away from it because it's so awkward in front of a live wrestling crowd. Yeah, some things work better on tape. And for example, with the Wyatt Six, Uncle Howdy, his whole dilemma and like his whole psyche is so portrayed well on the cinematography, like when it is pre-recorded backstage and stuff. But once it is in stage, he cannot do really much with it. You know, he can laugh, he can give us some expressions, he can say some words, but really doesn't have this time to shine as much as when he has this pre-taped stuff.
What was impressive was the incredible depth of the world and the characters within it. More importantly, the bold gimmick represented a fun sports entertainment aspect that many of us grew up loving in WWE. Whether you loved or hated Broken Matt Hardy, the wrestling world was talking about him in 2016. We would have never gotten Broken Matt Hardy if he stayed in WWE, as TNA allowed Matt Hardy to be creative and the former WWE star created something unique that remains popular to this very day. Number 8. Steve Maclin, aka Steve Cutler in WWE. Jackson Riker's controversial tweet killed Steve Cutler's WWE career. It made no sense that him and Wesley Blake were punished for what he said, but that's the fate Cutler was dealt with. But instead of fading from the limelight like Riker and Blake, Steve Cutler reinvented himself as Steve Maclin in TNA. The bland and generic wrestler in WWE became a believable badass who helped carry the X Division in 2021 and 2022. When he finally won the Impact World title at Rebellion this past year, it was well deserved because creative did an excellent job crafting a compelling character who had great feuds with Josh Alexander, Alex Shelley, Trey Miguel, and even PCO. Maclin's release from WWE was unfortunate, but the Forgotten Sons gimmick didn't particularly have a long shelf life to begin with. It's incredible how TNA can transform the careers of names who didn't even seem worthy to stand in the same ring as Roman Reigns or Randy Orton. Of course, a good part of that goes to the talent itself. Maclin was clearly being held back in WWE because Vince and Triple H didn't see much in him. It's great that wrestlers like Maclin can have a successful career without the need for a WWE paycheck.
True.
Number 9. Gail Kim. The least surprising name on this list, as Gail Kim came into TNA with something to prove after a failed WWE stint, and she made a nice addition to the America's Most Wanted act. But it was the introduction of the Knockouts division that finally allowed her to show WWE that they screwed up big time. Gail Kim always had the wrestling ability, but she was able to carry the division because she carried herself like a top star. Kim was greatly missed when she left TNA in 2008, and when she came back after a failed second WWE stint, she didn't miss a single beat within the Knockouts division. Granted, there were points where Kim's act became stale because TNA did overpush the former WWE star, but the quality of her matches always remained high. It's strange how TNA was able to bring out the best of Gail Kim as a character and an in-ring talent, yet Vince seemingly had no clue how to use a former TNA Knockouts champion. Number 10. Taryn Terrell, Tiffany in WWE. Remember the insatiable Tiffany? Well, the former ECW manager had a blink and you'll miss it WWE career. It seemed that she was just another pretty model in the division, but Taryn Terrell turned heads in TNA when she had the incredible last knockout standing match against Gail Kim at Slammiversary. She would go on to prove her value in the Knockouts division by having fun feuds with Awesome Kong and Brooke Tessmacher. Though the former TNA Knockouts champion had a short stint with the company, she made a surprising impact when she was given the spotlight. There's no telling how far she would have gone in WWE had it not been for the incident with her then husband Drew McIntyre, but she had enough talent to be the face of the Divas division. Number 11, and husband Drew McIntyre.
So this is the whole thing about McIntyre. Okay. Terrell was suspended by WWE in summer 2010 following an alleged altercation involving McIntyre before she was released from her contract in November. All charges against Terrell were eventually dropped following the altercation, but details of the alleged incident that turned physical created concerns over the health of their relationship. I remember when I was saying, oh, Drew attacked his wife or whatever. Oh my God, why did he do that? And blah, blah, blah. And then you guys were like, no, Bunny, it's the other way around. It literally is the other way around.
But she had enough talent to be the face of the Divas division. Number 11, Brooke Tessmacher. I know you guys remember the Extreme Expose. The group consisted of Kelly, Brooke Adams, and Layla doing PG-13 dances for the young adult crowd. Kelly and Layla went on to have successful WWE careers as Brooke Adams was left behind in catering. She was then released in 2007, and like Taryn Terrell, she made a name for herself in TNA. Tessmacher was a much-needed babyface within the Knockouts division. She didn't have the unique look like Rosemary or the experience like Mickie James or Tara had, but she was a likable presence who got better as a performer every time she stepped into the ring. Tessmacher perfectly fit the motto that WWE was desperately pushing during the time: strong, sexy, and powerful women. She would have made a better babyface than Kelly because she had good mic and in-ring skills. Number 12, Bully Ray. Bully Ray, being one of the best heels of the mid-2000s, wasn't on anyone's bingo card. When WWE tried to break up the Dudley Boys in 2002, that decision failed spectacularly. So no one expected Bully Ray to be such a compelling heel as a solo act. He fit perfectly as the leader of the biker gang and made the Aces and Eights faction a credible one. Now, the Aces and Eights storyline was a mess. However, when Bully Ray was given a mic, he instantly made the segments must-watch. It wasn't just that Bully Ray was so damn good on the mic, but he massively stepped up his in-ring game as well. His 2 world title runs felt important because Bully Ray carried himself as a proper champion. He had stellar matches across the board, and you had to draw massive heat. It's a shame that Bully didn't bring his act to WWE when he returned in 2015. WWE desperately needed credible heels at the time, and he would have fit in perfectly. Number 13, Bobby Lashley.
Such a sad
Bobby
thing
Lashley has
with
had a
Bobby
successful
Lashley, I
WWE
swear.
career, but that success is thanks to his stint in
I am
TNA.
so mad about
When
the
Lashley was first
WWE,
introduced
what
to
they
the
did
wrestling
to
world in
Lashley.
2005, he came across as another generic big man who satisfies the stereotypical model of what Vince McMahon likes. Lashley wasn't a bad wrestler, but he was rather bland and forgettable. WWE tried their hardest to make him a star, but his promo skills killed his chance at getting over with the fans. The former WWE champion got better as promos and character thanks to his 2 stints in TNA. Lashley was allowed a bit more freedom in the promotion, so he was able to organically showcase his personality and work on his craft as an in-ring performer. His best time came with the Beatdown Clan, a heel faction that consisted of Kenny King, Samoa Joe, Low Key, and MVP. It was essentially the Hurt Business before it existed in WWE. The group made Impact a must-watch every week, but it did start to crank once Hernandez joined because it didn't fit properly into the faction. Like several names on this list, being released from WWE was a good thing because it allowed Lashley to evolve as a performer. Could you imagine if Cody Rhodes never asked for his release? He certainly wouldn't be the man that he is today.
Yeah.
And number 14, D'Angelo De Niro, Elijah Burke in WWE. Elijah Burke seemed destined to be a star in WWE. He was booked well in his debut, and the former WWE star was one of the few entertaining aspects of the new ECW. Burke had a couple of solid feuds on the third brand, but WWE officials clearly lost interest in him once 2008 came around. It wasn't surprising that he was released, as he was barely on television at that point, and it still remains a mystery on why officials lost interest in him. Whatever the case may be, the former WWE star proved himself during his time in TNA. He came into the company strong as a heel, and his mic skills were top-notch. However, it was his babyface turn that elevated him into a top star. He had charisma that left fans eager to hear every word coming out of his mouth, and he was also tearing it up with strong in-ring performances. So when he challenged AJ Styles for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship at Lockdown 2010, it felt like the right time to give him the top belt. But sadly, they didn't. His star didn't fall after the loss, but De Niro's momentum was noticeably impacted. Still, his first TNA run was a giant success. He proved that he could hang with the big boys, and there was some optimism over WWE possibly re-signing him once he left in 2013. Unfortunately, they didn't. Elijah Burke is one of those names that had all the potential in the world, but for some odd reason, WWE just didn't know what to do with him. But there you have it, folks. WWE wrestlers who had better careers in TNA. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.
All right, guys. Basically, one thing I learned about this is that even if the most flashiest thing out there, you get an opportunity in that company and things don't work out, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world, because you can literally find your place somewhere else. You know, you should not be the saddest person. If things didn't work out, there is a reason for it. Probably it's gonna work out somewhere else. Just do not give up. There is something better written for you out there. Destiny's waiting. Thank you guys so much for watching. Check out my Patreon for more WWE content. I upload SmackDown, Raw, NXT recaps, reactions every single week. Also movies, series, as well as video reactions that are blocked on YouTube. You have everything and more there. A lot of weekly content. So yeah, check it out.